Hello everyone, welcome to Rasayan Academy, and guys, this is our 22nd video in the series of 100 name reactions, and we are going to talk about pain rearrangement today. So it's a very popular reaction, guys, very popular and very easy to remember, and these kind of rearrangement you definitely have to remember, right? So what is it? Let's quickly move on to this. The isomerization of 2,3-epoxy alcohol 2,3-epoxy alcohol under the influence of a base to 1,2-epoxy 3-ol is referred to as the Payne rearrangement. It is also known as epoxide migration. Now there is one more thing. Usually the Payne rearrangement refers to when you are having an alcohol, all right, and how, first of all, how do you get this 2,3 epoxy alcohol, right? How are you getting this 2,3 epoxy alcohol? So it's very simple. If you are having an allylic OH group like this, allylic alcohol like this, and then you can just do the metachloroperbenzoic acid oxidation, and very many times in the Sharpless epoxidation also you are getting the same product and you're getting one particular enantiomer. But yes, with metachloroperbenzoic acid you are going to get both the enantiomers, and this is how you obtain your 2,3 epoxy alcohol. This is, if this is carbon number 1, this is 2, this is carbon number 3, so you get your 2,3 epoxy alcohol. All right, now under the influence of a base, it is going to give you a shift in the epoxide. So as you can see, the OH which was on the terminal carbon number 1, now the alcohol shifts to the carbon number 3. Yes, 1, 2 and 3. So this is basically also known as very simply epoxide migration or the Payne rearrangement. Now we are very simply going to see the mechanism. So what do we see, guys? It's a very simple reaction. Let's say in the mechanism we are able to understand that in the presence of a base, the base is going to take away the proton of the hydroxy group because that is the only acidic proton we have, and yes, that gives you an alkoxide anion, that gives you an anion. Okay, so the anion now is going to do the migration, or basically it is doing the SN2 attack. From where is it attacking? It has to attack from below the plane. This is what we have to understand. The stereochemistry of this reaction is what we have to understand, right? So the O minus is attacking from below the plane of the already existing epoxide which is existing above the plane. So SN2 attack always happen from the opposite side. So that is why onto this particular carbon that you can see. And also, guys, why have I, or let's say in any standard book, why is it not written like this? Alright, the O minus is above the plane, but why is it not written like this? Or even if you write it like this, it's completely fine, because on one of the carbons, which is chiral, now this carbon over here, this is a chiral carbon. It has 4 different substituents and there is one hydrogen which is above the plane, but this carbon, the other one, is achiral. It has 2 same hydrogen groups. So it does not matter if you want to write it like this. You can simply write it like this also without any above or below notation, because it is a achiral carbon. Alright, so that is why we only mention the stereochemistry of the carbon to which the SN2 attack has taken place. Definitely there is going to be inversion. Alright, and this is how you get it, the alkoxide ion. Alright, so O minus after aqueous workup is going to take up a proton, and as you can see, it is going to show you the epoxide migration. So where did you start from? You started with an alcohol on carbon number 1 and 2,3 epoxide you had, but you ended up with 1,2 epoxide and 3-ol. This is what the option, this is what the whole reaction is about. Now we can try and see a lot of examples like we always do. Now what you can do is, guys, you can just try this out on your own. Let's see. Alright, not showing. Okay. Right, so what do you see over here? This is example number 1. Now in this example, you don't have an epoxide, you have the aziridine ring. Yes, you do have the aziridine ring. Now when such kind of a reaction takes place, you can also call it azapane rearrangement. Alright. Now the question is, how are you going to proceed, or let's say why is the product having this stereochemistry? And yes, over here the nitrogen or the aziridine ring, again the other carbon is achiral. This other carbon is achiral, so you need not mention the stereochemistry on this side. But onto this carbon, right, the second one, if we take the hydroxy carbon as first, the second carbon is chiral and it is having the nitrogen above the plane. On the first carbon, the oxygen is also above the plane. That does not happen if we do the SN2 attack. We require the backside attack. Okay, but there is one thing, the 1,2 bond, the carbon 1,2 bond can rotate because it's just a single bond, isn't it? Yes, and if we want to rotate, we can write something like this. So always be careful about the stereochemistry, and let's say there is a OH minus, so it's just going to abstract the proton from the hydroxy group. And further, after rotation, what I can write is, guys, I can write the nitrogen over here. Alright, I can also write it like this on the other end, it does not matter. Even if I write a single line, does not matter because here both of the hydrogens are present. So okay, now on the same carbon, now the hydrogen comes above. Okay, and that is why you have this stereochemistry. The O minus is again going to do the SN2 attack. Now O minus is above and the leaving group, which is the nitrogen itself, is going to leave from below. So again this is an SN2 reaction, inversion reaction. Alright, and what do you get? You get this product, that epoxide forms from the above. Okay, the hydrogen is still below and there is this pH group, right? And on the further carbon, onto the further carbon, what do you get? Just a second, the O minus attacks over here and you have, alright, so there is one difference over here, guys, that when the epoxide attacks, yes, this group opens up, CH2 NTS, yes, CH2 NTS minus it is going to be, but then after aqueous workup it is also going to take up a proton and finally give us this product. Okay, now definitely does it make sense if you just write this bond, linear bond, just a single line over here? No, because already the hydrogen was above on this side. So yes, we are going to keep this on the plane of paper along with the phenyl, and the group from where the nitrogen has left, this whole methylene group CH2 NHTS, all of this is going to stay below the plane, right? That makes sense, and that is why hence the stereochemistry. So always try to put the oxygen and the nitrogen on the opposite side so that the SN2 attack is possible. Now we move onward and we see another example over here, another very similar example, as you can see. So yes, in this example, what do you have, guys? Now, alright, just a second. This is a very nice example because just like we had two hydrogens, I think that you are going to be able to make out what is happening over here and then start the video again. So yes, look at this carbon. Is it chiral or is it achiral? Yes, because it is having two aryl groups which are same. It has got the same aryl group, guys. OH aryl group, and the same aryl group is present over here, which is para-methoxybenzene. Okay, the same aryl groups are present, so we can say that this carbon is achiral. Okay, now further, the nitrogen is present above the plane. Alright, let's say it is present on the plane of the paper and this bond is above the plane. It's basically the same thing if you write it like this. Alright, let's continue with what is given in the question. So you can just take these two aryl groups as the same. And why am I saying that repeatedly? Because now you don't need to bother about the stereochemistry at this carbon. You need to bother about the stereochemistry only at one carbon from here. Okay. So yes, if let's say the nitrogen is on the plane of paper, the methyl is above the plane, then what can happen? The OH could attack from here. The nitrogen bond could open up, it could become N minus. Yes, and that is how we can say that a epoxide is formed. So only you are not mentioning the stereochemistry on this carbon, only you are mentioning the stereochemistry right over here. Always the bond rotation could take place, and that is why you get the epoxide from the above, the methyl group on the above, and nitrogen on the plane. So see, always a single line is on the plane, this is above the plane, and this is below the plane. All right, so yes, this is how it is going to be. You can see it very clearly. Thus oxygen attacks like this and the bond opens up. All right, so yes, since this whole group is above the plane, definitely the hydroxide attacks from the above. Okay, so what you have to understand from here, how you are going to understand the stereochemistry of this carbon and not of this carbon. See, the bond is present like this, it is already above the whole group, this whole group is present above from the plane of the aziridine. Okay, and even if the epoxide attacks, even if the hydroxide attacks onto this carbon, it is definitely going to be from above the plane, and this bond opens up very easily. So this is why the product is here. So guys, we had two reactions, alright, two examples from the same Payne rearrangement, and you can see we are, first of all, we are having a base, right, and then THF and HMPA. Now the role of HMPA is to not cause any aggregation of the base of the hydrides that we are having over here. That's why these are the conditions which are used. Okay, very simple reaction it is, Payne rearrangement. And whenever you have nitrogen, you can call it azapane. You have a lot of other possibilities also. If I ask you the same thing, alright, if I ask you the same thing with this type of an example, let's say the epoxide is above the plane, alright, and then you have then you have a thiol basically. Okay, so the thiol in the presence of a base in the presence of a base, it's going to become S minus, and definitely that is going to be an SN2 attack. So this is also possible, why not? Right, you can also get rearrangement. Now only mention the stereochemistry of this carbon. Yes, very simple. Alright, so you can also rearrange to give you this molecule, and still it would be Payne rearrangement. Now what do we talk about? How do we classify Payne rearrangement? It is only when the nucleophile is present internally and it attacks to give a three-membered ring. Always the three-membered ring has to be formed. So basically it is just the interchange between the three-membered ring which is happening. You cannot say that, alright, you have a big molecule, let's say. If you have a very big molecule like this and a huge chain, and the sulfide is going to attack over here, are you going to call it the Payne rearrangement? This is a simple SN2 reaction, alright. This is a simple SN2 reaction to form a big ring, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6-membered ring. But it is not Payne rearrangement. Payne rearrangement is when you are talking about 2,3-epoxy alcohol or aziridine under the influence of a base to give you another three-membered ring. That is what the Payne rearrangement is. Alright, so yes, here we are guys. I hope that you understood what is Payne rearrangement and you understood what is not Payne rearrangement as well. And if you like the video, then do give it a big thumbs up just like this one, and also share it with your friends, guys. It means a lot when you share, and definitely when I am working so hard, you can work a little bit for me and share these videos with your friend in your college groups if you think that it is going to help you make good notes. And also subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. Thank you so much, guys. And here you can see I am also an educator on the Unacademy platform, plus platform, so you can follow me for regular classes, regular live classes. All right, most of my time is given up on Unacademy only, so if you want you can check it out there as well. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye.